Well, is it? No, hang on. Just I'll do it manually.
Okay.
What a perfect start to a second one.
It started there.
I'll do
There's
it.
no context.
No, it's fine. I'll do it manually.
Don't do that.
What are people going to want? What are they getting up? What are you doing in there?
You'll do what manually? I don't understand.
It's not your business. Must task us not its business. He knew that was his business.
It was.
I'm going to capitalize on something I said in the last one and railroad my own topic into this.
I believe that's called shoehorning.
Okay. You had your topic, now it's my turn. The people at Riot really are just awesome.
Okay.
Riot, for those of you unaware, somehow, Riot are the people who made Arcane, and they're great, and I watched the documentary, and I was saying everyone should watch it. But here's the thing. It's not just Arcane. Like, they're just really cool as a company. Because, here's what's funny. I had heard of this particular song and music video because it was well acclaimed, because it's one of the things Fortiche did. Fortiche being the studio that actually worked with Riot for Arcane. But what was interesting is, well, I suppose I'll give the context. While this Arcane was sort of put on hold while they were trying to determine whether or not they could even do it, our Fortiche had already hired a bunch of artists because they had been working on the pilot, and they were sort of trying to move forward with it, and it got shelved. And basically, as a I can't think of the word, like as a attempt, I can't think of it. In order to keep them afloat, essentially, because they didn't want them to have to lay off a whole bunch of people that they had just hired. The guy who actually, I think it was the main guy who was in charge of all of their Arcane thing, was like, hey, can we at least give them something they can be working on, so we essentially just to keep the lights on. And it was two of the music videos that Riot released at that point. One of them being one of their like world esports songs, which they release every year, which is cool. But then the other one, this is the one I want to center on. They have a fictional K-pop group that is made up of characters from League of Legends, and they release actual music.
Is this now on our Zoom?
Well, you'll have to listen to it because it goes hard. And this is the thing. This is what I'm talking about, why I think these guys are crazy. Because, A, that's a stupid concept. They made a fictional, like, female pop group made up of our League of Legends characters. And they're actually, like, they release genuine music. It's not related to the game really at all. Because, like, the anthems that they do every year for the Worlds competitions, that's basically promotion for the esports events. And they're cool, and they're also really good songs. But they're definitely, like, they're themed around League of Legends, and it's obvious. Whereas this is just an offshoot, and it just so happens to have League of Legends characters in it.
I don't know why I'm just thinking of that Sugar Rush song.
No. It is so much better than that. Don't You'll know how insulting that is when you actually listen to it. Because what's stupid, it's like, this is a dumb concept, and yet they went so hard with it that these songs are like super awesome.
It's like, Phil, don't do this too strong. It's about an ape that gets, or it's about a human that gets taken in by apes. It's like, and it's like Phil Collins, and it's like this piano that's burning in the middle of like.
I've seen that one for a lot of things.
Brother Bear. I thought
that doesn't come
decent.
as close. It doesn't come as close to Tarzan, though.
No.
But seriously, it's like, okay, they just went, yeah, we're doing this. And the fact that we don't care that it's a dumb idea, because we're going to make it not a dumb idea by how good it is. So yes, it's on the Zune, and you're going to listen to it.
I'm going to
I don't know.
Fulfill one of my laws and use talking as an example. I think that when you can create content around the actual cosmology that you've created.
Well, it's not related to League of Legends. Literally, the fact that they're League of Legends characters is the only tie.
Right.
They're not. It's not like this is just League of Legends music.
Right, but it's still periphery, is my point. Well, it's not something they needed to do in any way. They just did it because why not?
I guess.
Exactly.
And they did it freaking well. And here's what's awesome.
Did it because we
now
can.
You know that I'm not huge into the pop scene, although I've been sort of dabbling more and more lately.
Dirty pop.
Although this is... here's the thing I think I've realized...
Michael Jackson, you listen to him.
But there was a lot of... Yes, but it was back in the 80s when pop and rock hadn't fully split.
Sure.
Like, they were becoming different, but they weren't totally separate yet. Because ultimately, here's the thing that I dislike, is that pop means nothing. Pop literally just stands for popular. Like, pop, rock used to be pop.
Right.
Because it was the songs that charted in the top 100 were rock songs.
Is that the only definition of pop?
It used to be. It has taken on its own definition now. But there's actually an interesting YouTube video, I think I've brought it up before, about the year rock died. And I think it was sometime... The metric that the guy used was basically the first year since the beginning of the Billboard 100 or whatever it's called, the charts. I think it... I was... Okay. I was behind cover, I thought. Since the inception of the Billboard, whatever... Is it called Billboard?
Yeah, Billboard.
That concept, the first year in which not a single rock song made the top 100 was, I think, like 2010 or 2008, or it was relatively recent, actually. But he was going they had been obviously on the decline, because in the 80s, or maybe not the 80s, but like in the 70s, everything that was on the charts was rock songs, because that was the music of the time.
Right.
And then pop and rock were very similar. And then you had the soft rock, and then you had sort of the... the softer soft rock, which then sort of became...
Like chick... it's the romance rock.
A little bit.
Call it.
And then
hair band.
And then it became... It was on the decline, and then it was apparently... I forget which year. I think it was a late 2000s year. Was the first year that no rock song made it, and he was like, this is officially the year that rock died. And pop sort of became its own thing at that point. But here's what I think I've realized, is it's not exactly pop. I think it's helped me in the reframing of it as... I think a lot of it probably would qualify more as EDM. Or like... This sounds silly, but it's like sort of like club music, where it's like big thumping bass type, heavy, almost verging into the dubstep territory. Not quite as hard. Because I've actually liked dubstep since it... His knees do something he was doing a little bit of that was a weird little dance.
Jig.
He did a little bit of the shaky knees. He was pulling an Elvis. What was I saying about EDM?
I don't know.
It's a little bit... I don't know, because I've always been a fan of the dubstep, so it's basically like dubstep with lyrics, and I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. Because pop still... There's a couple people in the pop realm I'm okay with now, but it's not as much. And that's very much...
Is it the music that bothers you primarily, or is it the vocals
it's
and the weird...
insipidity.
Yeah, I was about to say...
The fact that so much of it means
lyrics.
nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, the reason why... And she's become actually popular, which is... well, I mean, I say it as though I've been like a...
I'm
I was
toast.
Yeah, you are. I like how you committed. I'm toast.
I didn't...
Rail me, boy.
How about we go over there and hit B on one of them? You want me to press B?
I suppose. Are you the same Boney as the other Boney? Have to turn around. I say this as though this is somehow new. I'm not. It's not new, but like Halsey's become a lot more popular than she used to be.
Sure.
She used to be sort of in the independent side of things, because it turned like, yeah, she writes her own music and is actually competent and good. Whereas a lot of the thing is what I find so unbelievably weird is that there are people in the professional music scene who just write songs for other people.
Right.
And that just feels like the ultimate sellout to me. Because, like, you're literally... I'm writing songs that I will not perform, and then performers are performing songs that they didn't write. And I'm like, do you not feel as though you've just given up? Because I feel like you have. It's like, I used to respect Taylor Swift back when she wrote her own music, as much as I didn't like it. I didn't like her music much. Wow, these guys are quick. But I was at least like, she writes her own music, and she plays her own... Or she writes her own lyrics and plays her own music. So I can respect that.
Yeah, at least she's got...
And nowadays, it's like, okay, she's got people who write for her, and her songs kind of suck.
The whole idea of sampling, to me, bothers me. Because it's like, oh, somebody else created this chord pack or whatever else, and I'm just going to use it. It's like, then
I don't know if that's,
You're not making music at that point. Like,
because to me it's like, I understand, like, cover bands to me are silly. I don't quite get them.
They're silly,
but there is at least
when people try to take them seriously.
Yeah, they're at least like okay, we're dedicated to this one band.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay,
kind of
yeah,
thing,
I can
sure.
get behind that where it's like, okay, I'm not probably going to be able to see these songs performed live.
Right.
Especially in the case of bands that have since broken up.
Right.
So it's like, sure, I get it. And, you know, I don't know if cover bands ever have their own side projects where they release their own music. But whatever, I'm just like, if you wanted to be an artist and a musician, it just feels like doing other people's stuff. Maybe, I mean, I have no ambitions to be one. But if I did, I would feel like I was selling out. Maybe that's me. But anyways, so again, it's like I like Halsey, I like some of the other ones who actually write. As much as I don't love Billie Eilish like you do, I again recognize like, okay, she writes her own stuff. And now here's the thing, I didn't mean to get into this, but I suppose we might as well. Because I may have, there's a weird two roads diverge in a wood.
What about...
There's Billie Eilish, and there's also, have you heard of...
Two roads are worth more than one in the wood.
Oh, goodness. I don't want anything there. I don't care if it's a road or nothing. Okay, this is...
Oh.
He just went, I know what you're trying.
That strategy worked like absolutely nothing.
I mean, it would if you didn't go into the middle of the room.
I didn't. I was sneaking.
You were sneaking through metal chairs.
Sneaking around the corner.
I don't think I'm going to have to boost that so anyone can hear that.
No, leave it low.
No, but okay, low.
It's a good word for life. Leave it low.
I won't interpret that.
Keep it. Look.
No, stop. Let me finish. So there's Billie Eilish, and the alternative I found, there's a bit of a split, is if you are interested in very bizarre, weird solo female artists, there's the Billie Eilish path, and then there's, have you heard of Grimes?
No.
She's equally weird. She's probably weirder. But that's just the dichotomy I've discovered, and I'm not sure which side of it I land on yet, because they're both odd, and they both... The thing... here's what I'll give... I have only found one song by Grimes that I actually am like, okay, I actually really like this. But the thing I have since learned about her is that she actually not only writes and performs the music herself, she actually mixes and masters everything herself.
Oh.
Which is kind of crazy.
So she's producer and everything.
Yeah, like she actually produces... She also directs her own music videos, so I'm like, okay, as much as you're weird, again, I can respect that you put effort into this because it's clearly a thing of passion, and I respect that always. So yeah, you should. I've added one to the Zune that you can now listen to because it's weird. I won't deny it's weird. But anyways, back to the other thing. So KDA is the name of the band of the fictional pop group that Riot created, and is actually really, really good. But they're they're not exactly pop as much as they're very trance sort of house music. I would have to show you
ambient kind of that weird like low.
Okay, trance is not right. House music is like club music.
Yeah.
So trance is incorrect, but
trance is more like the low.
Well, you know what EDM is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought
but the
Ooh!
I think
Yoo-hoo! Please don't blow my face out.
House music tends to have a little bit more drive to it than I think that
EDM has a lot
drive.
Yeah, are they the same?
But I'm saying
I don't know enough about trance. Was incorrect.
Trance is a little bit.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it's heavy. It's synth heavy and whatnot. We got close to the end of this. We're not gonna not finish this now that there's two guys left. But anyways, I will show them to you because I think you'll be won over.
You gave me 3. There's 3 guys left.
No, I thought there's only 2. There's 2 big miniguns.
I'm fairly.
Is there another one down there?
Somebody down there with a big knife.
It's either stabbed you in the back while you were trying to... I don't know. So I'll show you that. But here's the thing. They don't just stop there. I thought, oh, this is a funny, sort of silly, but it's good, and I actually like the music. They also have a fictional metal band made up of also characters from League of Legends.
Is all the new stuff Riot stuff?
No. There's not that much. I said
there's almost that much.
No, there's only a single album from KDA, and there's only like 5 songs on it. I added a whole bunch of new stuff because the Zune's been out of date for a long time. But the metal band goes like way hard. And by that I mean they actually have like not just... Well, I mean, KDA is made up of relatively...
Okay, no.
Relatively famous people.
I didn't mean to just walk right in here.
Madison Beer is in it, who's a name people know. Do you know her?
I don't.
I don't know any of her individual songs, but I've heard her name. Bay Miller, or B, I don't know how it's pronounced.
That one sounds somewhat
So
familiar.
it's like people that are famous, but in the... maybe they're more famous than I think of them, but certainly the people in the metal sphere, I'm like, oh, okay, they got that guy in it? So they got Jorn Land, who is from Masterplan. Yep. Oh, you know his name? I didn't think you were going to know his name, because I knew it, I recognized it, and then I looked at it, I was like, oh, he's from Masterplan. Okay,
right.
That's a big thing. They also had the chick from Battle Beast.
Battle Beast?
I've shown you the stuff...
I've shown you the
like
stuff.
they're on the Zune. I know you've heard them, but I don't.
Probably. I don't recognize that one. Though.
See,
I'm
Straight to the Heart.
Chick. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, you know, she's got a very unique metal voice for a chick. It's like she's got. So I'm like, they went to the people they knew were gonna sell this, and so it's
but again,
really
they go
freaking
hard.
great. They do. And here's what's really so funny: they had a virtual concert that was actually live streamed and interactive for people to interact, because it was literally like a dumb League of Legends plot where it was like these two side factions were trying to war to be the best metal band. And so the audience got to interact and be like, this person won this round. And it's like
within League of Legends, or?
No, I mean, it was just, yes, sort of, but not really. It wasn't a game. It wasn't like a game of League of Legends.
Makes me want to play League of Legends, I'm not going to lie.
Well, everyone I've heard talk about it says you shouldn't.
Why?
Because it's...
You'll get trapped.
That is one of the reasons, but I don't know why people say it ultimately, because I think the thing that I have heard definitely people say is, if you're getting into it just because you like Arcane, don't, because it's not at all like Arcane. But it's like interactive concert where the people interact and be like, we choose this person to win this, and it was like, this is really stupid. The funny thing is, a lot of the commentary on it was such a dumb thing, and yet everyone loved it.
So it's like, I can't believe I'm watching this, but this is great.
Yeah, it's like, this is such a silly thing to do, and yet because they do it with such gusto, it's like, it's actually really fun. And the music, the metal stuff, I was happy about that, because I'm like, okay, KDA may be a rare specimen of pop music that I like, but metal, I'm like, okay, I'm not hard to please when it comes to metal. And so far, wow. So far, they go hard. What we ought to do is, instead of sneaking down there and trying to backstab them, sneak down there and get them with the shotgun. That'll probably take it out if you get them in the head.
Yeah.
That's what we ought to try, because we're not leaving this with 2 guys left, or 3, or however many. But anyway, so I am going to force you to listen to some of that.
Okay.
Because it's just great. Really, I'm actually surprised, and it's... I don't know. I just wanted to comment, Riot are mad lads.
They're doing it right.
They're doing it right. Well, genuinely, it comes down to the passion thing, where it's like, I don't even play the one game they've now branched out, but they're all League of Legends spin-offs. But it's like, they've been making one game.
They're kind of pulling the little bit of the WoW thing then at that point. I mean,
in a way, I suppose. I don't know I think the gameplay of all of them are similar, and the world is the same as far as I understand. But it's just like, I've never played the game that you produce for the last 10 years. And yet somehow your company culture is enough that I'm like, you guys are awesome and I like you. So I guess it's just positivity. We rail against things that are stupid, but we got to highlight things that are good.
Don't nag out.
What does that mean?
Don't be negative.
Oh, now they said nag out.
No, I said don't nag out.
Yeah, so yeah, Riot...
Running and killing, where is he at? He's no longer here!
He pulled a trick. Now they know where you are. Yeah, so I had that written down as Riot being mad lads, because they are. Ooh, good thing. Not a good thing. Sad thing, but something worth talking about. Ooh,
eat it!
Why don't you chew? You punched him in the spiky armor bits. That would have shattered your knuckles. There was a rather...
I'm gonna just do this slow and steady like the most arduous process.
Okay, you gotta wait till your juice builds back up.
How do I build juice?
Well, you don't do it manually. It happens on its own.
Do I...
Oh, hey! You could eat that. That was like That was divine intervention. How do I get juice?
Like in Crash Bandicoot, when you take the first gem and he like lifts it up to the sky and then floats away.
Those were never my thing.
I loved those games.
They're weird.
Weird and
I don't like their. It's like Temple Run, but old. It's literally
original.
It's literally Temple do nothing but run in a line.
Yeah, but it's
and jump difficult. On stuff. Yeah, but I don't care.
It's like an original
Tetris
platformer.
Is difficult. I don't play Tetris much.
Well, comparing it to Tetris is like saying that
it's only a few degrees up in complexity.
No, Space Invaders would be a few clicks up.
Fine, then it's a few clicks up from there. It's just like, okay, it's one camera angle. The only objective is jump and avoid obstacles while running in a straight line. And I'm like, that ain't for me. But, you're trying to attract him to your... Well, I suppose it'll probably work, but... Okay.
It's working!
There was a...
Is it working?
There was a rather sad interview with... Is he on this floor? Oh, he's coming. What happened here?
No!
Ooh!
Take it!
You do it again. You punch him in his bits. In his spiky bits.
Run! Where is he now?
I think that was the last one. No. See, the hostile went away. That means everyone's dead. We did it! Yeah.
Did we really?
Oh, heavy rifle ammo. We don't have that, though. Take his money. Take his money. You have to hold it and then press it.
What? Okay.
Select. What?
It's saying
give it to him. No, there's no. There's no space involvement for money. Pick up the money. Take the money. Take the money.
What do you?
Take his cash. Just take. It's X. There you go. Because the money doesn't take up inventory space. That would be dumb. Ooh. It was an interview with George Lucas that was really kind of sad. But again, it's all related. It highlights the same thing.
Should I save?
Yes, please. He was talking with some... I don't know who the interviewer was, but they were basically saying, why is it...
New save or...
No, it doesn't matter. But they were asking him... It was basically some additional details of, like, here's one of the reasons, some of the behind-the-scenes reasons of why he sold Lucasfilm wasn't just for the money. He was basically acknowledging that a lot of the films he was wanting to make, and this is not just the Star Wars stuff, he's going, I'm interested in making films that I know are very specific to my kind of taste and perhaps bizarre experimental stuff, and they weren't making money. And I have and he was actually surprisingly sympathetic. He's going, I've got, Lucasfilm has 2,000 employees. If I keep making these things, I'm gonna we're gonna take the company down. So he says, he had already received a lot of the hate for the prequels, which is one of the reasons, which is sad, of why he sold specifically the Star Wars aimed thing. But he didn't just sell Star Wars; he sold all of Lucasfilm. And so he's like, I want to just make the movies that I want to make without the fear of monetary repercussions. So I'll pass this off to people who are interested in it, and this was, of course, back when they feigned that they were going to respect it. And then he's like, and then the money that I get from it, literally, he's like, I put it in a fund, and all it does is funds my future movies. Okay, there's more guys. I think we're in officially a second part of the mission, but I think this is like the exfiltration stage. You. Camera! They're going to watch you do this. I don't think you could choke someone with that kind of a rig on.
I beat you with my fist.
I don't think that would work. Well, now they all know you're here. Get out the door! Get out the door! Where? That door? I don't know. Away is where we need to be. That's a bathroom. Never mind, I led you wrong. But it was sad because
it's in here drying my hands.
Yes.
I'm just drying my hands, gentlemen.
I just imagine your hands are caked with blood. I was just washing my hands. That's why they're wet. No other reason.
I think of that. Have you seen any of the Mission Impossibles?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
They've been going on a long time.
Well, that's true, but there's a scene, I think, in the third one where he's trying to take on the identity of somebody, and they use these face
I've
masks.
Seen that clip because that was, I think Mythbusters did a test of that. Like, could such masks be convincing?
Well, he's waiting.
No.
He's waiting for his voice chip to like change his voice, and so he's sitting there and it's like
all that you're saying is making me think these are not the films for me.
It's uploading, and he's like sitting there like washing his hands while his bodyguard of the actual guy comes in, and he's like sitting here and he pretends to cough so that the other thing can upload and actually change his voice. So he's like, it's like, what? Okay. Eventually, I feel like the bodyguard would be like, I'm like, get underneath and you gotta get underneath it.
Oh wait, there's stuff in here. We gotta steal things.
Well, okay. I'm not Claude Cooper, so...
Wow. It's a reference no one's gonna get. I only know it because you've made it before to me. But it was just sad because even the interviewer was like, "Oh, when are we going to see those films?" And he's just like, "You're not," because it's just like I'm making them because I'm interested in Whoa! I mean,
that was a crack shot. I'm making them
because and a half. Thank you. I could have killed half another person. Oh crap! Well, yeah, it doesn't help when the camera sees the dead body. Oh, this is the The system is down. The system is down. Yeah, so again, it's just like, that's what's sad is Star Wars was that. It was a total, like, here's a weird idea. I'm going to do this. And it made crap loads of money. And it's like, maybe some of the stuff he's making now is really freaking good because he's not concerned about making money. Because that's certainly what Disney's driven into the ground. They want to make money, and then we ruin Star Wars to do it.
You don't think outside the box, and then you don't think of ideas that potentially could make money that sound absurd, like the Squatty Potty.
Okay.
I mean, it's
quite the leap. There were film examples you could have gone with, at least.
I'm just saying, it's weird people that go, let's try this for no reason, and then people go, I'm gonna buy that. I was talking about this with, I can't remember who, the other day.
Hang on, what is the point? Or are you trying to, is this a contrapoint?
No, it's not a counterpoint. I'm saying experimentation is always going to be something that will drive us towards...
And a lot of it will fail, inevitably.
Right, but I mean, the very point of it being unique is part of why people buy into it.
Well, it's like, there's the Billy Joel biography, which I read, which I think is great. It talks about how in his opinion, he never writes songs in general. He writes songs either to specific people or about specific people. And he just, that's a camera, it's gonna see you do this. And, that's part of his sort of philosophies. It's like, you can't, if goal is to appeal to a lot of people, that's such a nebulous, how do you do that? Because what constitutes a, mass market appeal song? It's like, no one knows that. There's not a formula you can plug in. I mean, that's why a lot of pop music sounds the same, and it all is just like, because it is formulaic. It's just insert theme, insert...
Okay. Ooh. I didn't realize he was right there.
Insert some keywords that you want the song to be about, and a computer could practically do all of it.
Lady,
basically,
woman,
essentially. That's a joke for a reason, because we're getting close to that. Whereas you go, maybe that'll make money, in the short term, but it won't make a lasting impact. It's not going to stick with anyone.
Well, it reminds me a little bit of that Phineas and Ferb episode where it's like, we're just going to be a one-hit wonder, and they literally go out, write one song, do the thing. It's the Aglet one. And then they just, that's it.
Well,
it's like, there's a part of me that goes, if more people did that, we'd probably be better off for it.
Well, we certainly would, because you just go, if you just let it end, let it be.
Right.
Doesn't even have to fizzle out. I just say well,
like be popular when you are, and then be done.
Well, because here's the thing. I was proud of this analogy one time when I thought it, because I didn't.
At one point, I was
because I didn't realize how apt it was, because I was saying the concept of a wave is not, it's not a surge that moves. It's individual particles going up and down. So if you are trying to ride the wave, you're going to have to be like chasing something that is so unattainable. Right. Whereas you just go, I'm going to do this one thing because this is the thing I'm passionate about. And maybe you'll get a moment where it's like, oh, this is what I managed to reach some success. And then you go, well, once it starts to recede, you have to say, am I going to change what I do simply to chase that success? Or am I just going to am I going to continue making what I make because it's what I want to make? And it's a bit of the old sellout culture thing where you just go, well, it's obviously up to the, I went to the bathroom. Wrong.
As much as you give John Mayer crap, he actually was an artist that did do that, where he was like,
sure.
I have my fan base.
Which is why I've never really heard of him.
It's like, I have my fan base, and that's it. He's like, I don't want to be some popular, like, super...
Well, again, like Taylor Swift, she chased the wave, and now she doesn't make the stuff she used to make, which actually used to be good.
Right.
So it's just, that's the thing. You go, I'm going to make what I make. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it was for me anyways. It wasn't for the money. It was because I was interested in it. And not enough people do things because they're interested in it. They do things because they hope they will make money.
Right.
But that was a tangential thing, and now I forgot what the actual point was. Why on earth? Okay, so they rigged this place to blow. Is that the only one? How close can I get? Okay, that's how close I can get. I hope there was only that one. Run! We're almost to the X! X marks the not death. Ah! What? Really, guys? They're just determined. Unfortunately, I have cyber legs and there's... Okay, so my choice is either explosives or water. Well, I played adventure games in the 90s. I have solutions. Ugh.
Take a barrel.
Just, come on. There you go. Bridge. This is stupid. Oh no! My bridge!
Well, no, build the rest of it in the front.
Well, but I think I spread it
up
too...
on the idea.
I think I...
What? Now you're just hucking boxes.
Well, because I have to get a distance. I didn't realize how far this was. This one I can place. I'll have to give it a bit of a... Oh, it's too... It's probably too heavy to knock over this way. That's what we call American problem solving. I almost died. Holy crap, I'm down to 1 health. What was I saying? This weird saw puzzle we're trapped in got me confused.
Saw puzzle.
Well, they seem weirdly vindictive about it now. Innovation is good. And
Innovate,
it can't...
adapt, overcome.
Yes, and it just... Riot is good because they do stuff they're passionate about, and Lucas was good because he did stuff he was passionate about. It's like, and if it made money, and it made bajillions. That's the thing, is it's always a risk. A lot of it's going to fail, but when it succeeds, it will usually succeed hugely.
Well, it's like people that are like, yeah, I'm a multi-millionaire now, but I had 3 failed businesses that were completely...
Oh, those went too far.
Well, hope you can jump on the...
Can I ride a corpse?
Wow.
Well, can I... Okay. Oh, it's only in the middle. Well, this wasn't nearly as complicated a puzzle. I feel silly. I put in way too much thought. I put in way more thought than they did. When will I freaking get out of here?
And we just go to your house.
No! Why are you dudes after me? I know I killed some of your friends.
This is like the laundry room scene in like jail cells, like shows where it's like.
Is there usually one of
where
those?
they jank you with the toothbrush shiv.
Toothbrush shiv.
That just aggled his brain a little bit.
Aggled? I don't think that's a word.
Whatever. I'm just.
Hey, fella.
Addled, whatever.
Oh, you. Okay, we'll both give me a second. I'm healing. Sorry, still healing. Taking a long time. My circuits.
You're playing.
My circuits need.
You're playing Call of Duty rules now.
Come on, pal. Nice try. Oh, I thought I would get him with the double. Really? How many more of these does it take? Well, I'm gonna win, dude. If only because you don't know how to take. There you go. Take some cover. That went from funny to gruesome back to funny. Oh, boy. So, I just thought, I thought that interview was kind of sad. I mean, in a way, I'm kind of like, he deserves to stick it to him a little bit to be just like, yeah, I'm going to make what I want to make because I'm not a soulless husk who just wants to make money. And it's like, good. Because, I mean, he deserves...
Well, I think Lucas is
deserves a bit of vindication.
More than he's thinking.
Well, money. I don't know if he'll ever release them. Maybe, man, he's dead. They'll be like, oh, yeah, here's the movies he made. Maybe some of them will be, like, great. There'll be Star Wars 2.0, something else totally new that revolutionizes the culture. I bet he's got another one in him somewhere.
He's gonna fix the Stargate atrocity.
I've heard the movie was terrible. I heard the show that was based off of it is actually pretty good. Have you watched it? I haven't.
Sure.
Well, sure. What? Sure, you've watched it, or sure
I've watched it before, and I don't agree.
The show or the movie?
The show.
Oh, okay. Oh. Okay, which is the way? I gotta get down there. Oh, I see a vent. Look away. Oh, okay, there's windows. Darn you! Oh, okay, that's an opening. I thought that was like a... Yes, I'm that way. Go that way. Run!
Just running.
Yay! Oh my, we finally got
it.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I just wanted to... I thought it was sad and worth commenting on. You have anything else and worth commenting on?
Not specifically sad. I do think it's sad when there's
passion.
A fall from
Why is
grace
it not?
In that
I don't think he exactly. The prequels took him. People didn't react well to the prequels.
I'm not talking about the prequels. The prequels were
that
fine.
was what did it. Well, we agree. That is really. That's certainly what drew a lot of the controversy and criticism. That
he allowed the criticism to.
I think he let it get to him, but then again, I think. That is naturally a risk for any artist is taking criticism too seriously.
Sure.
When you put a bit of yourself into something, naturally you're going to be sensitive when people attack it. I mean, that's... Oh, I had something I was going to... That reminded me of something else that happened that I thought was... I wish I could remember because I had... What? Why am I hurt? How did I get hurt? I guess I was getting shot, but... Oh, thank goodness. Ooh, that's fine. Okay, so I should probably put this away because I don't want to get shot. I wasn't the terrorist who shot up the factory. Can I put it away? What's the button? I thought it was X.
I thought it was B.
Oh, it's Y, but you just tap it. Holding Y brings up the quick select. I forgot what it was I was going to say, because the point of it was now I feel silly because I don't have the context that led up to it, but basically I got down to a point of my own thinking where I was like, the price for being an artist effectively is absolutely nothing but the willingness to accept criticism
and to fail.
Yeah, because if you make something and it doesn't do well and you're like, okay, I made it as an experiment. I made it because I wanted to, not because I wanted it. I needed some kind of success from it. It's like, that's literally all it takes.
Right.
You don't have to follow the rules. You don't have. Yes, those things matter and can be useful, but it's like you can buck tradition all you want. You just have to own up to it.
Well, and do it for a reason. Again,
not even
back
that.
to the whole Ayn Rand thing.
Well,
if you're just going,
but I mean, even then, I just go. I wish I could remember the inciting incident of this because I felt like it was sort of related, or relevant at least, because it was just something that was like, it doesn't matter if you... Because even then, I'm like, you could break rules and do stupid things, but the problem is when you demand that it be well received. Because I think that was something like that where someone was making a fuss about something. I forget what. I wish I could remember because I think it was relevant in the news a while ago, and of course, because we're always behind the times, I forgot. But it was
like,
basically
by the time
like
this was released, we're talking about what are they even talking about? This was released months ago.
So I don't remember, but it was something that was the point I drilled down to. Is I'm like, do whatever the heck you want. I don't care, but you do have to face the criticism of it, and that is all it takes to be an artist. Like, you don't have to follow the rules. You don't have to do anything by convention. You can buck all the traditions you want. And if you own up to them and say, I stand by what I did, congratulations. That qualifies you. If you're going to be weird and, like, demand respect or, like, I was pushing the boundaries, it's like...
Do you think you're an artist? No. I don't think that makes him an artist.
It's just... I wish I could remember because I remember it bothering me. But it's the same thing. It's like, you just... I think maybe that's one of the reasons I like the interview is it sort of feels like maybe he's come back around to that position. Because I do think he took it a little too seriously, and that's natural for something you've put passion into. You're going to take it personally. But the cost is that you accept that and just go, you know what? It didn't pan out, and I'm happy I did it because I was experimenting. And not all experiments pan out. Anyways, now that I've moralized a little bit, we had to get a little bit in at least. It's not really a finished episode unless we moralize about something. Where am I going? It's telling me to go this way.
I read an interesting article, actually, regarding not specifically moral context, but about this notion that I guess people are now deeming something called silent quitting.
I've been hearing about this. I assume does this just mean not showing up to work?
No.
Oh, okay.
So there's a whole because
that's what I first thought of. I've never actually looked into it.
I'm not at all. So hear me on this. I'm not at all one of those people that. Can you top me off? I'm not all one of those people that is like the okay boomer people. I think those people are annoying, where they basically act like the previous generation has zero context for what we're going through now, or doesn't have anything healthy to contribute.
It's related to the last episode. You're talking about people who think things are bad simply because they're antiquated. It's like that. You have no clue how ignorant you sound.
That, and I just go...
It's like, you're old, therefore you don't get it. It's like,
to suggest that somehow somebody that experience doesn't have something intelligent to add to you is...
Or that we're all not just human.
Right.
Maybe the things you think are like, no one understands, maybe that's just what people feel like and everyone understands, you weird... Just because you want to be special.
Wow, you mod buffs.
Well, it's like some people just want to be special and like, you don't understand me. It's like, everyone understands you, Timmy. We're all people. No, you're not special.
Goose.
No, because I said Timmy.
But I think the notion of silent quitting is that generationally our generation has evaluated.
Why is it called silent though? Because that's why I assumed it was
I'm about to tell you.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about the implications without describing it first.
Well, I'm going to have to describe it first because you don't know what it is.
Exactly. That's all I was reminding you.
So
can I kill the butcher shop owner?
He's like, please, just take my meats, my loose meats.
What are you selling? What kind of polygonal birds are these?
I'm pretty sure that is Sebulba grilled. Or whatever he ate, at least. No, it's Sebulba.
What ring are you trafficking here, dude?
You're selling grilled dogs. Get out of here. Sebulba, that's what I heard.
Now you gotta go in the sewer. Or probably a subway or something.
So,
okay.
File room, secret something.
Safe. What is this?
Essentially, it is our generation is acknowledging and is specifically just demanding, hey, this is the way we're going to do our jobs, which is that
it came up from that way, didn't it?
Where some people would have it come off as lazy. The previous generation, specifically the generation that was deemed the greatest generation or whatever, where they came back from war, they really started hustling.
Sadly, that's no longer the previous generation. That's several back.
Well,
now.
I know, but I'm just saying.
We're getting very far removed.
Well, that's the boomers that most people are talking about.
No, greatest generation is not boomers. The boomers are the children of the greatest generation.
Right.
Because, I mean, think about it. It used to be the trope that, like, everyone's grandpa fought in World War II. It's like, now it's not the case. A lot of those guys have since passed.
Yeah.
Now maybe people's grandpas were Vietnam. It's like, and that's, we're getting far from those
back in
people.
Nam.
I think I'm on the right track here.
But
wait, no, I thought I had to go to
There's a big red
here.
glowing arrow that's saying you're on the right track.
But I thought I had to come to Yuzhou or whatever we're in. And now I got to go back to Qui-Gon?
Qui-Gon?
I did. I came from this pathway here, and now it's telling me to go back. I don't get the map in this thing.
So it essentially is, I want to go into work, and yes, I'm going to do my job, and I'm going to do it well while I'm there, but I am not going to bend over backwards in a way that says I'm coming in for overtime. I am doing anything that
overtime
the boss
without
expects
expected pay.
in a speedy, in a expedited, like, hey, I just gave you this.
So is this just like
process.
Boundaries things, or is this like actually going to quit because of this?
It's very much a boundaries thing. Well, basically the reason people call it silent quitting is you're quitting the rat race context and the kind of striving to just be the best. Because especially within the kind of greatest generation, but I think even later in the boomers and some of those others, I would say even maybe the buskers or the busters.
The buskers.
That's the follow-up generation after the busters. No.
Where am I going?
But even within that generation, there was this idea that work was associated with almost like your identity. It was like, this is what I do, like this is who I am.
Yeah, people used to stay with companies for like 40 years.
Right. And a part of that, I think the part of the reason our generation has moved away from that is because on a societal level, there's less value on that. There's no longer as much emphasis on tenure. There's no longer like what is it called? Not stimulus packages. What are they called?
Bonus.
No, when you leave like when you actually retire, severance. Like the severance is hardly a thing anymore. And
I saw a video you'd appreciate. It was a guy who does watch revival that he found one on eBay, and it was like there was an inscription on the back to the guy saying like, oh, for 20 years of service at the company. It's like, who's heard of that these days?
Right.
He's like, oh yeah, you've been here for 20 years. We're going to buy you. I mean, not a lot of people make it to that long.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know that companies do that anymore either.
Especially for only 20 years. I mean, that's
well.
So
probably should though, given how hard it's hard to get 20 years nowadays.
But essentially, the workforce has become an expendable, just like it's a machine, whatever. It's not.
Arguably, it's the sort of service industry we're in, where it was people Well, when you really think about it, human resource is a very wow, the word escaped me as I was saying it. Dehumanizing, goodness. Thing. It was like human resources is a whole department where it's literally just like, let's get the chattel in here. We just need your body for moving stuff, that's all.
And that's really what it's become. So essentially people have said, no, I'm not going to give you anything more than what I'm required to give you.
It's a little bit like, what's in my... Okay, yes, I guess I'm ready. I'm signing us up for something.
And so I thought it was interesting, though, because basically the two sides of the argument is, well, it's lazy and it's basically not striving to do your best and whatever else. And there's another side that says, literally... No, I'm setting up boundaries to say I'm going to spend time with my family. I'm going to actually carve out my own space for mental health and all that other stuff. And what they found is people that do this actually have more effective work days and
wasn't there the book about the 4-hour workday, which still hasn't caught on?
Well, it's very much Covey's idea.
They basically did studies showing that 4-hour workdays, if they're truly intensely focused, get more done than the average office does in an 8-hour workday.
Well, I mean, and I would say the whole 7 Habits of Highly Effective People says a similar sentiment, which is that when you drain what he calls the golden goose of all of its possible energy in order to produce, you end up actually losing production. Well,
it's like, if you kill the goose, it doesn't... Yeah,
you're running it into the ground.
That was the whole point of that fable in the first place.
Right, and so it's burnout, and so especially our generation is kind of rejecting that and saying, no, I'm going to say no to you, and and so the reason they call it silent quitting is because some bosses will say, well, you're not essentially trying to move up in the company, you're not pulling your weight, and it's like, no, I actually am. Then you would be firing me in a context that is unjustified because I'm doing my work. I'm coming in when I say I'm supposed to be there.
Well, it's like I'm fulfilling my job description.
But I'm not going to come in when you on Friday night text me, I need you in tomorrow, and I'm off the next day. It's like, no, I'm sorry. I've got things to do.
Well, I mean, again, that comes down to I forgot how much we leveled up hacking. This was so much easier. Obviously, it's a personality-based thing where it's like there's going to be industries where that still remains the necessity, because talk about if you're a lawyer, especially if you're like an international lawyer, it's like, if you're not willing to get up at 4 a.m. when one of your international clients calls you, there's guys who will, and they'll get the clients. Right. Now, I think we're culturally shifting to where we go, maybe I don't have to be that. Maybe I think it's we've recognized that level of attainment isn't necessarily the true level of like, oh, you've made it. Because it's like you have to sacrifice a lot for that. And I think we're valuing more than just those kinds of prospects these days. So I guess culture has changed in ways that aren't strictly negative, but I forgot about this plot. I guess we'll be kind and help you out, even though I don't like you.
So I found that to be an interesting context. I think that the biggest thing is what I found is it was getting at bosses that not only manipulate but take advantage of, again, employee relations. And I think the reason that I found it fascinating is that the people that said that they have now applied their own.
Whoa! Okay, this was very hard.
This guy's hustling. Oh dear me!
Not gonna happen. Whew. Do I even need to be in this room? I should probably double check that.
It would be a bit of a.
Wait, the guy is in this. Oh, the guy is in this room. Oh, so this is in fact where I need to be. Well, that was a rough one, but I could maybe give it a. So
I thought that the fact that they found that once they did focus on their own kind of making sure that they set up their own boundaries and things of that nature and stuck to them, that they actually not only gained more confidence but also were actually more effective in the workplace and were given more accolade and moved up in companies. Like there's times
here's what's funny. Oh, there we go. I've got you now.
It's a little bit of like you tell people how they're going to treat you concept.
Yeah, have you seen... I know we talked about it. I don't know if you've ever seen it since. The original Walter Mitty movie. Literally, I have not seen it. That's effectively the plot of that. Where it's like he is the sort of backbone of this small publishing company, magazine publishing company, and he's very much the doormat thing. It's similar to the modern Walter Mitty. It's like he's a bit of a sad sack, and he doesn't have much guts to stand up. So his boss basically takes credit for all of his stuff, and he kind of puts upon him a lot. And by the end, it's like, oh, he's gone through this big adventure and he's now super confident. And then he ends up being like a co-partner of the company because he's basically like, I'm not going to put up with this crap anymore.
Right.
And his boss, and it's actually a degree of like the boss actually respected that. Because some people think, and obviously, depending on the insecurity of if it's a very fragile person who's in charge, they might just be like, well, then you're fired.
Right.
But there are also people who go... Sometimes when you demand respect, you'll actually get it.
Right. Well, and if you don't get it, Jordan Peterson would argue you're in the wrong company.
Yeah, if he fires you for that, you probably were in a place that was bad.
But that's why it's called silent quitting.
So it's essentially like forcing their hand in a way.
It's in a way, it's basically saying this job does not mean more than my own space and respect.
Well, and that's an area which I do think modern culture is improving. Again, I think we've gone. You can. Oh, yeah, that. I like how we come clean after we saved his life. I'm also kind of not supposed to be here, and I'm here to infiltrate and take your company down. But I did save your life. I think it's a pendulum thing. It's like it used to be very much too far one way, and I think we are still kind of swinging in the too far the other way. But I think we're maybe on the way back down to the middle. So
and we've talked about the whole Hegelian dialectic.
That's exactly what
it's very
it is.
much we got to.
I think
get to the place that
we
can work hard, yes, but again, we don't need to drive ourselves so much so that we actually then sacrifice. I mean, even the guy that I was talking to today, where it's like, okay, you're getting your priorities so out of whack that your kids clearly are seeing you treat another individual in a poor manner.
Okay.
I'm just saying, so when people treat people poorly and then your kids see it or whatever else, you're obviously not being a good parent at that point, and you're going at the point that your job becomes more important than something like raising the next generation. We wonder why there's problems.
Well,
it's like that is...
this will be a good thing to end on, because once I go through that door, I'm going to anger a whole new slew of people, so I think we might pause it here. But I wanted to say something that I thought was... It's sort of, if I may leap from there, because it's sort of tangential. And if you'll remind me exactly what you just said, because there's something about the way you just said it.
The idea that when we don't focus on the next generation and the
right, because it's a priority thing, and I think someone I forget, it was some podcast I was listening to, and the way they phrased it I just thought was a good way of phrasing it, and it stuck with me. It's like, it was in a political context naturally, because I think it was a political podcast, but the guy said that you can get so fixated on the political machine, as it were. It's like, making sure that things run the way they're supposed to. It's like you can then let essentially the machine dictate what you do,
right?
And then I'm trying to get it right, because again, I say the way he said it was the most, I think, poignant. It was something along the lines of, you sacrifice the stability and security of the country for the conscience of knowing that you kept the machine running.
Right.
It's like, yes, the machine may have been built to say, okay, we're going to do this because it's going to have this end and this is what we're aiming for. And then eventually you get so wrapped up, it's like, okay, this thing was instituted to get you to that place.
Right.
If it starts to veer off, you have to recognize, what was original.
Right.
The goal. If this is veering, you now have to say, no, I'm going to stop the machine because it's off course. It needs to be corrected. Rather than going, well, the machine was meant to get to the goal, so we just have to keep pumping into the machine. It's like, well, then great, you can doom us all feel good that you kept it running.
What's the whole Tron thing? It's like, hello.
Again, so exactly. It's like, okay, now, great, you've got a nice life and a good, career and whatnot, but the whole point of that was to help you actually bring up another generation. It's all about what is the long term. You don't get to feel good because you stuck to the status quo.
Yeah.
At least
bottom line is, be willing to say no and actually keep priorities in line, because balance is definitely key.
Well, now the Taoist influence is showing.
Well, I'm just saying, Eastern. This is one thing that I think.
What's funny is that the Eastern countries are the ones that have a bit more of a problem with this.
That's true. That's probably why it's such
there's actually there's Japan is potentially on the cusp of changing, if only because they're having such issues with the younger generations.
Sure.
Where it's like, it's actually interesting in Japan, of course, being the only country to have ever been nuked. Their work culture was so radically altered by that, because it was very much like, we're literally rebuilding our country, not just like, our economy's down because we were at war. It's like, no, our actual parts of our country don't exist anymore.
Right.
So that became very much the inculcated, we have to band together. And it's like, well, credit to them, they succeeded at that.
Right.
But now it's like they're having to learn to rein that in. So perhaps their own philosophy could be what I don't know. Wasn't it the prophet has no honor in his own land? Maybe it's...
Yeah.
Maybe we've already benefited from their philosophy, and now problem is I don't think they can benefit from any of ours. Certainly not any of the modern stuff. You have a better sign off? I feel like that was...
balance. Again, it's...
Balance. It feels very...
Hegelian. Look at it.
It feels a little too Mr. Miyagi, just, you need balance. Is there...
You see this balance, Danielson?
Was that it?
Well...
Okay. I have to pee again. That'll be the end.